Hey guys, I am excited to finish up Old Wolf today. The last chapter, Casey was trying to help Nishaba, and of course Nishaba's injured and he doesn't trust humans. And initially he bit Casey when he tried to put some cream inside his wound. But Casey understood that he was probably very scared and has decided to go and get some more food and continue to help Nishaba. But meanwhile, when he got home, his dad has finally returned from work. So remember that the story's setting, where and when the story takes place, there hasn't been a whole lot of time. There's been a lot of chapters, but there hasn't been a whole lot of time passing in the book. It's all happened like within the day before his birthday to the day after the Saturday after his birthday. So we're talking just a couple days time. And if you remember, his dad was pretty adamant about him not using that bow and arrow by himself. So he's got some splaining to do, right? Let's see what happens. Chapter 54. Nishaba tried to make sense of all that happened. Why had the human fed him? He had never heard of such a thing. Was it because he was young? Would the human come back? Would he bring more food? Or would he this time kill him? Was this human really the one who killed Merla? Nah, he couldn't be. He was kind. Then who killed the raven? He didn't know. He wished he understood humans. What Nishaba did know was that with all the food he had eaten, his strength was returning and his paw hurt less. Working to stand up, he was much more successful. No longer shaky or dizzy, he took a few tentative steps. Though there was still pain, he could tolerate it better. He could walk. Nishaba wished he had not told Tanagan to run off. She would tell the pack what he had said about the human, and they would move away fast. He would never be able to catch up with her or his wolves again. He stood quietly, gathering strength. The rain was starting to taper off. Mist drifted through the trees. I can move, Nishaba told himself. Even so, he didn't. He was trying to decide if he should wait for the human to come back. Maybe he, like Merla, could be a friend. Chapter 55. When Casey walked into the house, his dad greeted him. Hey there, have a good walk? Guess what, Dad? What's that? I found that wolf. What are you talking about? The one Mr. Souza talked about. It's true. As fast as he could, he told his dad what had happened. When he was done, Casey said, You don't believe me, do you? Look, he held out his hand. The teeth marks were still visible. Looks to me like you lost 2 arrows, maybe shot a raven, which was dumb as well as lucky, and you came too close to a hurt animal, and he bit you. You're lucky he didn't break your hand. It's a wolf, Dad. I'm sure it is. Can you show me? Sure. Let's go. They left the house. The rain had stopped. In its place, gray mist moved through the air. Casey turned toward the woods, but his dad was heading for the garage. Where are you going? Casey called. A hurt dog, which you say is a wolf. I'm getting my gun. Dad, you don't need it. He won't hurt you. He's nice. I'm sorry. The kindest thing you can do is to put a wounded dog out of its misery. Dad! Let me be the judge, Case. You haven't been very wise, have you? Okay, you're a teenager, but come on. You've acted like a little kid. He saw his father enter the garage. Dad, I may have killed a raven, but I saved that wolf. As he waited for his father, he looked around and saw the arrow he had first shot. It was there, exposed by the melting snow. A wave of relief washed through Casey. He had not shot the wolf. His dad returned with his .223 rifle. Dad, look, I found the arrow. It never reached the woods. It wasn't me who got the wolf. Fine, said his father. Show me the dog. His father, rifle in hand, walked by his side. They trudged silently through the trees. The air was cloudy, shrouding everything, taking away all forms. It was as if the world had begun to change shape, to melt. When Casey glanced back, he could no longer see where he had come from. He paused, checked to find his bearings, walked on, and found the clearing. Nishaba was not there. He was right here, Casey insisted. You sure it's this spot? His dad asked. He was. Look, paw prints. And over here, blood. Okay, then where is he? Casey, relieved, said, I have no idea. Where's the raven? Over there. They walked some 15 more yards when Casey spied an arrow. He ran and picked it up. There was blood on it. But there was no raven. He looked up at his dad. Maybe I only wounded it, he said, holding up the arrow. You sure you weren't just playing your game? They were real, Dad, cried Casey. Well, whatever, said his dad. Let's go home. Casey followed his father, trying to make sense of what had happened. Chapter 56. Want to set up a target? His father asked as they approached the house. Start practicing with the bow? Just need to check something, said Casey. He hurried to his room and turned on his computer. Bow Hunter came on, filling the screen with the jungle scene, green vines, immense flowers, tall grasses, and dangling snakes. He waited for half an hour. No wolf appeared, no raven. Where did the raven and wolf go? Casey wondered. He heard his dad call, Case, we going to practice? Casey turned off the computer and went out. It was the last time he looked at that game. Chapter 57. Nishaba walked slowly among the damp trees up and out of the valley. Though limping, he moved steadily into higher country away from the human. His thick fur kept him from feeling the rain or the mist. When he was far above, he paused and looked back. A white cloud cupped in the valley below, hiding it from the view. Where Nishaba stood, there was still snow, but it was melting. In bare spots, yellow snow lilies had sprung up, as if rays of sun had come not from above, but from below. As Nishaba remained in place, a swarm of smells swept up from the valley. There was the scent of rain and the scent of growing grasses, budding bushes, new mushrooms, and decaying wood. He sniffed the scent of foul porcupine plodding about somewhere. He noted the fragrance of pine cones being nibbled by black squirrel in high lodgepole pines. He heard mice moving underground. He heard a black bear lumbering among the trees, announcing he had awoken from a long winter's rest. He heard the sound of running water. A rising breeze caused the sap-thin trees to creak and crack, as if chilly limbs were stretching. When he looked up into the clear mountain sky, he saw flitting chickadees, a pair of gray pigeons, and a fat and furry bumblebee. Canada geese were flying in a V formation toward the north, a welcome sign that spring was coming. Highest of all, a flight of 8 ravens, their great black wings beating slowly, flew by. Nishaba stared. Was Merla there? He lifted his head and howled once, twice, 3 times. No answer came. The birds vanished. Remembering what the raven had said, wise creatures live by questions, Nishaba asked first, where shall I go? He could almost hear Merla saying, you have already come to where you shall go. But what shall I be? What you already are, an old wolf. A question, an answer? Nishaba went on, limping but alive. The end. So what do you think? If you were writing a sequel, would you have Nishaba continue to live? Would he reunite with Merla because she was only injured? Or would you make it a sadder ending where he never found Merla again and was never sure whether or not she was still alive? So if you enjoyed this book by Avi, I highly, highly recommend you check out more of his books. Next, I'm going to start reading you some Beverly Cleary books. One of my favorites is Runaway Ralph. So I'm going to read that to you guys next. All right, have a great day. Bye.